are full of energy as well. So let's jump into a listening now with the Complexity lineup.
You want to go Mirage? We can just bully.
Let's go around this way to Mirage.
Yeah. Go Mirage, we can just bully everyone on that side, even Team Underbridge.
We can sit on like that side of the mountain too on the train tracks because it doesn't look like anybody's going to be coming from train side.
There's a team here that we can fight. They know we're here.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna. Yeah,
gonna
let me.
started?
Can we go around northwest and get an angle?
Burke Watson.
Okay.
I got his gen as well. I'm gonna ult.
I 61 cracked. Hit 100. Hit 100.
I cracked one. I hit 176. 76 on blue. I molly passed.
Yeah, me too. I'm burning one for blue.
Yep.
Nice. They TP'd or queued. I can't tell.
They're trying to.
There is a team top. What's it called?
Right there.
Top Mirage.
I'm not gonna take.
They're gonna get bullied. I don't know where that's going, but I think they're gonna get bullied.
Can we
There's
fence?
a team top Mirage. Yeah, I can fence it.
Yeah. They're gonna come back.
I think they are.
Okay.
Okay, well, there's a shit ton
Yeah,
of
they're
teams
right
this way.
here. They're right here. Took it back. Nope, that's a different one. Okay, he took a different TP.
Back to. They're like down here.
Yeah. Just careful of Mirage.
Where is this caustic gas from, or was it already here?
Yeah, that was already there.
Okay. A good zone. It's way south. It's farther south.
I think it's this one right here. Can we go west and come up on? No, there's a team there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, looks like it. We could play.
Hostile spotted.
And I'm glad, Hodzik, that they did show some energy and excitement after I gave them the gas up before, but it was the fight that was being initiated by Monsoon once again. They almost got the result that they were looking for from that fight, but the team managed to get away. And Complexity, again, just from the comms, you could hear the playstyle they're trying to execute. It's backing up what we're saying to you at home. Trying to bully teams, trying to take fights, and the sentence that stood out for me is, this is a fight we can take. We can fight these guys.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's exactly as I called it. Even though we don't condone of bullying, that is their playstyle. I mean, they look for those edge teams. That is, they wanted to clearly kill that team. They destroyed the Watson ult. As soon as you destroy the Watson ult, that's a very easy Gibraltar ult right on top of that. I don't know which team that was. I don't know if one of them got picked. I saw someone went down in the kill feed after the portal, but that team. They probably are stuck. If they're still alive, they're probably stuck in a very, very bad spot now, courtesy of the bullying.
And as Hodzik said, we don't condone bullying, but we do condone fighting in Apex Legends. So if you want to take some aggression out, that's where to do it. And Complexity is showing exactly how to do it in this grand final tier of online tournament number 6. As Team Liquid now set up on the top of Mirage Voyage. They haven't moved much since we last saw them. No surprise with that power position as well. That circle is going to be enclosing, but one team who are in a fight here are Noble. They're trying to push a pretty smelly room here with the caustic inside it, and they are going to get aggressive and try and find that last player. There is a player down, and he's in the corner. And he's going to be taken down. So good job here from Noble to execute on that push and not be taking too much damage there from the caustic as well.
Absolutely. Roof Koreans going down. Ironically, not on the roof. They are on the first floor. But unfortunately, they went down. It's going to end their run for this game. But good little isolated fight. Anytime you can take isolated fights like that, is absolutely a lot of what you'll see in the North American region, just because not only is that 3 kill points and loot, but you have to think 3 kill points plus you eliminate a squad, which gives you placement. So that's even more points. So hats off to Noble for being able to execute that quick. If that was drawn out, they're immediately going to get third-partied. So well played by them.
Complexity again putting the pressure onto the team, and they're desperately trying to escape again. And it seems at the moment that, like you mentioned, as soon as the team realizes they're being pushed by Complexity, they're out of there. They don't want to take that fight because they know what the result is most likely going to be. So probably some frustration creeping in here a little bit for Complexity as well, because they've had a couple of opportunities to push onto players. They've done damage onto the players from teams, and just not being able to get those knocks or those finishes maybe that they're looking for.
Absolutely. And one thing to note here, actually, is we see Reptar getting a knock here on Saucer from Team HRN. The rest of the team just trying to get out. Hill going down as well. Looks like Complexity will just be happy with those 2 kills as they just clean them up and try to loot very quickly. But and one thing that maybe like the audience at home might not realize is, all of these players are constantly playing each other either in scrims or in ranked. So one way that people kind of realize its complexity is Monsoon uses, for example, he uses a Wraith skin that not many others use. It was a very early skin released in Apex called Airship Assassin. So that's one of the telltale signs that typically other teams, you'll hear like, oh, that's this team, that's this team. If you listen to their comms, teams usually identify each other through the skins that they use. So a lot of teams, yes, it is true. A lot of teams, when they see that Airship Assassin Wraith skin, they try to book it the other way. And unfortunately there for HRN, they were not able to squeak through.
Another one of those notable skins. You see the bright green Pathfinder skin of Albrelele that certainly is distinguishable
Watermelon
amongst all of the colors. Yeah, the big watermelon boy. Just very distinguishable in that particular lineup. But now we're going to be watching Prodigy Aces, Joey Blackout, and Rogue. And they're set up underneath the platform here at Thermal Station. They're going to have to make their way across some open ground here. You can see there's so many Watford fences in front of them, so many teams who are going to be looking to hold them out, and they're going to have to do some damage and try and back a team down before they can look to push in or maybe make their move towards that third circle. But 1 minute 35 left on this ring. They're going to have to make some decisions pretty soon here, Hodzik.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are fortunate enough to be on the southern end of the circle. Most of the teams you'll see, you see all these teams are basically pulling that Rogues team right there. But most of these teams are going to be on this end of the circle right here, the north side. And this is why most players hate this circle. When it closes, you're going to see a lot of teams die. Expect to see the squads counter go to like maybe 10. And then it's going to be even more after the next circle closes because it is a very tough rotation. So being on the southern end, you got a little bit more leeway, you got a little bit more cover, more areas that you can play to work around. But obviously, as you see, every team is basically focusing them because they want those kill points. So it might be a little bit rough for them.
This is where, if you're on the outside of this zone right now, you better hope that you've got some sort of mobility or some way to get across that open land that you have to try and traverse here. The Gibraltar bubble will be vital in these kind of rotations, or maybe a Wraith portal to try and find some sort of sneaky area. But the difficulty here, Hodzik, there's so many different elevations around this particular circle that, they're always going to be coming under fire from those teams up on the likes of Mirage Voyage, up on Thermal Station building. So that makes it even tougher. And if you have to move across essentially some more level playing field where maybe you can play a truck, maybe you can play a rock or so, and just back yourself down and kind of just survive until those teams are going to be taken out around you.
Absolutely. And one of the most frustrating things I think about the map World's Edge, and this isn't necessarily a criticism, it's just naturally part of the map, is Mirage Voyage. I know a lot of players don't like to play around here because of how frustrating that point of interest is. You get this massive elevated area to work with, and you basically control the tempo around that entire area. Rotating through there, if there's a team on Mirage with snipers, rotating through there is basically, that's not happening, no matter what. So it can be really frustrating for a lot of teams to play around that. Ooh, we see actually, I'm not sure who that was, we see Fire going down to Liquid, which is actually up on Mirage. So this is what I'm talking about. Like they're, I don't know if they're hard pushing on them or if they have the snipers out, but they are definitely controlling the tempo here.
This is going to be bad news if you're a fan of Nightwing and the Yeet squad, because they are going to be taken down. Team Liquid looking to get aggressive, but the only problem is it looks like they're going to be hassled on their way in as well. So Team Liquid will fall. And like you were saying here, Hodzik, all of a sudden we're down to 16 squads. And with that circle moving in, especially on this next circle, we are going to see teams being taken down, as we see RKM picking up down there in the feed as well. And Monsoon getting aggressive once again. And Complexity now moved into a little bit of a sneaky position here under the platform. They've got the Watson Altar down, so they can kind of rebalance and reestablish themselves on the map. But now we're seeing teams start to get competitive, start to have to make those pushes, and one of those teams who are going to have to at least make a rotation here, once again, being just outside of that next zone, RTSM, who are currently still in contention here with 15 squads remaining.
And this is one of the most frustrating things when the next circle shows and you're in a decent spot, but you're just barely outside. This entire circle for TSM plays different if it's just a couple meters in their favor in their house. all of a sudden they can use that house for cover and to try to control the area a little bit better. But now they have to make that awkward rotation where they don't even have a lot of cover in front of them. So it's so interesting just how any circle just in a matter of meters can really shift how a lot of these teams play.
Now we're going to do the push in here from Denial, but fortunately for him, he's going to be beaten pretty easily. Flamer's going to be down in front of him. That kill will be finished off as I'm going to continue with that fight, and it's Promo who backed him up there just momentarily to make sure that his teammates didn't come under too much pressure, but you can see it's just a real game of posturing now for these teams, trying to set up those next rotations. And I want you to break down a little bit what goes on in the team comms here between the three players, because this is where the IGL really stands out and makes those big decisions that can make or break your game.
Absolutely. So basically, and I love the way Reps described this. Him and I have talked about this a lot in the past. Competitive Apex basically comes down to a very simple formula. It's obviously not simple, but there's a lot of scenarios and mechanics to it, but it's basically you keep rotating around the circle, and then around the third or fourth circle, you have to fight one big fight for a spot, and then you're golden till the end game. So it's always, a lot of the games are really determined by that one really big fight, and you're going to see a lot of these teams forced into that one really big fight right here, as every team scrambles with not a lot of space in the circle for 14 teams.
And one player who doesn't need space to work with is Snipe Down. He comes in on the flank there and just absolutely lasers the player down with the R9 9 shots. Oh, and speaking of nice shots, there's a crispy one onto Rambo from the barrel of the Kraber in the hands of Sweet there. A beautiful shot, and he looks like he's going to try and get that portal down as well. Snipe Down did get knocked momentarily, so he can have an escape route here to try and get back into the game, but it looks like the push is actually going to be coming in here from Polygate squad. And now the action really is starting to pick up. We were around 16 squads just a few moments ago, but now we're down to just 7 as NRG are one of those teams who are also in a battle here, but Prodigy Aces is going to have to queue out of this battle, and we really are starting to see the intensity of these fights pick up now, Optic.
Yeah, and you see Rogue, that team, as Rogue goes down. Unfortunately, but this is what I'm talking about. That one really tough rotation. They got to fight for it no matter what. And that was also, similarly, that was TSM's tough rotation. Now they have the spot. They might still be getting contested here by aim assist, but now they have a really good defensible spot that they can hold for at least the next 50 seconds. And that's basically what a lot of it is about. It's about just moving, knowing where the circle is going to go. A little bit of luck is involved for sure, but then being able to play the scenario as best as you can and focus the teams that you need to is basically what separates the really good teams from the really great teams.
So 5 squads remaining here, 28 seconds left on this circle as well, and that's where those teams who are currently outside are going to have to try and get inside. We see the portal going to be good enough there for Sweet to get back in the game and manage to get that res onto Snipe Down as well. So Rogue will be a full complement of teams, but the only issue for them here is how do they get into the next zone? Because that looks like a pretty difficult job for them to do.
So this could be actually it. They're trying to get the zip into the Drop is going to heal here. They're going to take that portal last second and then just try to zip out. Really smart. It's the only thing they can do in order. If they can just stall any couple seconds, they might be able to get a couple extra placement points here, though, as other teams start to fall. And unfortunately, no gold res. They're out.
So it'll be Rogue that fall. They were our 3rd place team coming into this game at number 3, and a place team coming into this game at number 3. And unfortunately for them, just a case of that being a horrible circle for their rotation. They just got stuck in the one pocket of air that was stuck between them and that next circle. But now we're going to see aim assist moving in again, and Prowler in the hands here of the Wraith player, Gentrifying, and TSM still involved in this game as well. So 3 teams. We've got aim assist, we've got TSM. I'm not sure who that final team is, but now we're going to see, almost like we saw in game 1 here, Hotsick, just waiting for one team to make that move, to do that damage, to get that down before all of this final circle fight will kick off.
Absolutely, and most of it comes down to the team that has to move last in terms of where the next circle is usually that team that tries to, as the most, not fight, because they don't. It's whichever 2 teams have to move first are usually the ones that end up having to fight. So it looks like at TSM, I think are the ones that are closest to the circle. They got a little bit at their back, and they have a lot of cheeky angles here, especially with Pathfinder. This is one of the things that's still really strong about Pathfinder, being able to get that height. This is they have a lot of cheeky angles here where they might be able to get a lot of damage. Because the biggest thing, we see the third team is actually Noble. They're only 2, and you see they're on the long end of the circle. So they're going to be probably the first team to have to move, and both teams are going to be looking for that. And probably watch out for as one team starts shooting at Noble. I'm assuming it's probably TSM kind of counter trading. The way I'm thinking is going to be aim assist shooting at Noble, and as aim assist is shooting at Noble, TSM is going to take that advantage to get any damage off on them. So it's going to be a big triangle of doing damage to each other to see who gets other lowest.
I love the fact that TSM have set up a portal as well to just get a secondary angle once that circle does close. There's going to be 2 TSM players here, and there's going to be Albalelli who's left behind as the Pathfinder, still playing that rocket. Now we're going to see the forced move in here for Noble. They will manage to get one knock here onto... It will be Amos who managed to get one knock. Rex comes in as well for TSM to put the pressure on, and here comes the push now from TSM. Surely this has to be Team Solo mid-game to win, and it is. It is clean, it is clinical, and TSM take your game number 3. Fantastic stuff from them.
Absolutely. I mean, that's textbook right there. They read that Noble, I think, was on the east side of that circle by them, and similar to how we saw Rogue win their game. Identify the 2 teams, identify who has to move first and then second, and then try to be that third team closest to the circle that doesn't have to move, forces them 2 to fight, and then you come in quick for the cleanup. Very textbook by TSM. Absolutely job well done.
And of course, they were in second place before this game number 3. So I would imagine with that big win and some KP to go alongside it, they will be moving up into first place. TSM certainly back in contention for another online championship here. But I love the proactiveness as well from TSM in that end circle. A lot of times you'll see teams kind of posture and wait for that opportunity. But I love the fact that they set that portal up to at least get different angles. I know it might seem like something super simple to do, but getting multiple angles on those 2 teams are going to have to rotate. It's just that next level thinking that maybe some other teams wouldn't put into play in those situations.
Absolutely, and it caught because they did have the circle, even though they were on the slow side of the circle, they did have it right at their back, so they'd have to move. Putting that portal closer to the circle, they still had it close to their back, but the further in you get, the slower it is, and the less you're forced to move. And it played out almost exactly as I called it. It's all about which 2 teams move first. Aim assist had to fire at Noble. It's kind of like you got to do it. If you don't, it might screw you over. But if you do, it's still going to screw you over because as TSM's a smart team, as aim assist is taking out Noble, TSM is going to capitalize on that opportunity to get free damage on them. And that's exactly what they did. Textbook cleanup.
And the crazy thing about it is the fact that TSM, we know how they like to adapt. They react to situations they've been in where maybe things didn't go their way in a previous game. The fact that they had almost that, exact scenario in game number 1 where they didn't manage to pull out the win and they were one of those last 3 teams remaining. The fact that they can come back just a few games later and been put in that same position, that's a testament to how they've adapted, not only from, a disappointment in game 1, but being able to bounce back in game 3 and convert onto a win there.
Absolutely, and it's kind of just the way they seem to play tournaments. They're, like I said earlier, they don't typically do all that hot in the first half of tournaments. They kind of always come in towards the later half, and they just start to dominate. I don't know if they treat the first couple of games as warm up or what, but it's certainly it's a weird kind of consistent from them, and it's something you can count on typically in tournaments from them.
Yeah, big players seem to step up in the big moments, and game 4 and 5 are certainly those moments that you do want to be stepping up. I'm just looking across here, and we do have the results coming in. TSM with 19 points with that win. They got 7 KP to go alongside it. Noble in second with 5 KP as well. And aim assist, as we saw, that third place team. But NRG and Rogue still very much in contention now, Hodzik. That was a 4th place finish for NRG there with 10 points on the board, and Rogue putting 8 on the board. So although TSM do pull out a big win here in game number 3, you have to say that Rogue and NRG still very much in contention with 2 games to go.
Absolutely. And the dark horse that I was talking about as well, Noble, I believe they unfortunately had a disconnect in game 2, but here they are. They're still rolling with the punches. Their head's still in the game, and they're putting up really big points. Like I said, don't sleep on them. They've been putting up crazy results the past couple of tournaments, and they're very underrated players, I think, in the scene.
Yeah, I think they've proved that, already in online tournament number 6. We weren't talking about them. You said keep an eye on these guys. They're going to impress you, and you have to say they've been incredibly impressive so far in the tournament. Noble certainly putting in a good performance here, but certainly a team to keep watching as the tournaments roll on here in competitive Apex Legends. And I'm just again just looking through the leaderboards here and looking at the KP that have been put up, the points in total, and I'm looking at the likes of Complexity there, 7 points on the board, maybe not what they would have wanted, and 5 of those coming from KP. Not to be scoffed at in any kind of way, but for now that's going to do it. Hodzik, we'll break down game number 5 when we get the opportunity to cast the finals of this, but before we get there, we've got game number 4, and before we get there, we've of course got to go back to the analyst desk. So it's over to Rain Day and Jayla.
Thanks so much, guys, for letting me know. Welcome back to the analyst desk. Had to hit a couple of buttons at home. I'm not only on screen, but I'm my own engineer here as well. So I think that's one of the things you guys don't realize. I'm making all the fixes behind the scenes. This time I was a little unmuted. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Jayla, great finish to that game. TSM, they grab a win. And this is what we've kind of been looking for. How would they respond after missing that tournament number 5? But it seems like game 3, after 2 early game 1 finishing second, obviously game 2 having a good performance as well, game 3 winning, it seems like they are back and they're in full form with something to prove.
TSM is definitely putting numbers on the board. Honestly, they might have something to prove this match. They didn't qualify last time, so maybe they're coming for the win this time to get their spot back. It was interesting to see their push in to the circle. It didn't look like they actually had that, but the position that Aim Assist and Noble were in, they actually had to shoot at each other, so they had the opportunity to take advantage and third party that and actually get the win. So it was cool seeing TSM come out on top this one.
And it's great that you bring up Aim Assist and Noble. 2 teams we talked about a little bit. One you highlighted, one no one highlighted, and has been making a huge impact here. Top 3 in 2 games now. Let's go into that final moment again. The controller stars, Aim Assist, you mentioned them. They were so close to getting this one, Jayla.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, honestly, I thought it was their game. I was kind of rooting for them, rooting for this controller team, but unfortunately, they had to take that fight with Noble before the fight with TSM. And as I believe it was one of the Pathfinders pushing in, he took damage from the storm and made damage and went down immediately when pushing in. So TSM definitely took advantage of that and got the win.
And that's one moment where exposed high ground is actually not what you want. TSM had some low ground they could kind of duck behind. The top of the rock wasn't really easy to play in with the circle. And of course, Noble, and what was kind of too unfortunate about that Hodzik had mentioned was that the teams who might have been the biggest underdogs against TSM fought each other instead of really giving either of them an honest go to try and take down what has been for many tournaments the top dog in North America. And it's resulted in these points. Hanset was mentioning it a little bit, but Team Solo Mid 19 points, Noble White with 14, Aim Assist with 12, and Rogue and NRG rounding out the top 5 with 10 and 8 points. 8 and 10 points respectively. What I love seeing here, not only just TSM showing up, but Noble. I mean, the fact that these guys on Mouvain, Blitzen, have been performing at this level without really a lot of hype around them, without a lot of conversation in these ALGS tournaments prior, that's got to be saying something. And they're bringing a Caustic to the meta. How do you feel about the way Noble's kind of finding themselves in these top 3s? And what are they doing that you're seeing, Jayla, that's working to get them there?
Honestly, I was kind of surprised to see them playing Caustic. Unfortunately, the Caustic did not make it to the last circle where the fights were happening. It would have been interesting to see how they could have played there, like with the Caustic. Maybe it would have turned out a little bit differently. As far as how they're playing, we're not really getting too much like footage of like how they're playing. But that in circle when they were holding that crate right there, it was honestly we had no idea where they were even at for a good portion of time until they showed them. I didn't know they were even in there. So they're playing pretty smart. They have to be playing smart in order to end the game twice with TSM in the top 3. So
only thing we want to see now is like a full-on, everyone's got 3 full shields, Evo shields across the board, and they just get into a solid gunfight. Like, we haven't really seen a fair battle towards that final end, but that's because TSM, Rogue, and the rest of the squads like NRG have been putting themselves in better positions to win, and that's why it is TSM in first place with 43 points. NRG with 35, tied for second with Noble, White, who have yet to win a game but have just been so consistent today in online tournament 6. Rogue at number 4 with 30 points, and then Complexity following down there in 5. Now, we've got some highlights to walk through, Jayla, but I have big conversation that I want to kind of bring back to you. Let's go back to NRG. Second place here. This is where we've seen, and I've seen, NRG fall off. That doesn't seem to be the case today.
Most definitely not. Not the case at all. I know they had a little bit of trouble getting qualifying. They had a lot of technical issues, but it's cool to see them not let that really take away from their performance. They came. Honestly, this is one of their strongest performances I've seen. So I'm pretty happy to see how NRG's doing.
TSM still obviously contending so well, and part of it is that they may have something to prove, but also you see a little bit of a differential here. The EVA 8 kind of dominating NRG's win by tree in game 2. A ton of massive play coming out from Hal and the boys from TSM as well to kind of make things happen here in game number 3. But a lot of aggression. I think that might have been the story of today's game. Following along with Complexity for quite a while, you, me, and I think the rest of the casting crew, we're just kind of watching and saying, how do they get away with this? How is the aggression that we're seeing, and sometimes blind aggression, not necessarily the smartest play, but maybe an ego play there, yeah, we're better than you, let's just push into that and take that fight because we think we'll win. How do you think that's affecting the lobby, if at all? And what do you think about Complexity in that obviously 5th or I believe 6th spot, having a chance to do something crazy in these next few games?
Honestly, I love watching Complexity. Monsoon is a hilarious guy. It's funny seeing them pushing people and people running for them, because I know that if I was in this game, if I saw Monsoon, if I saw Complexity, I would definitely turn the other direction. So I know that teams are afraid of them, and I think that they know that too, which is why they're being so aggressive and why they are playing the way that they are playing. As far as them making, I don't know, maybe top 3, I don't know, because they just, as Hawk said earlier, the Complexity curse. They start off, pretty well, but then sometimes it just doesn't go the way that they might have planned.
Well, obviously, we've got some fantastic stuff coming up, and we've got some tweets you guys have been mentioning with us as well. I mean, we want to make sure you keep using hashtag ALGS, and there it is right there. Let's go, TSM. Glad le jour. I think I butchered that, Jayla. I don't know. Do you have a better pronunciation of that
You
one?
might have, honestly.
Remember, Super Region schedule, it's coming up. It's hanging out with us in the summer, all summer long, giving you something to do. June 21st to kick it off, following it July 12th, July 26th, and August 9th for regionals 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then finishing off with some playoffs in September. Use hashtag ALGS to stay with us, tweet at us, and of course, follow us on Play Apex at Twitter, at YouTube, and of course at Twitch to stay in tune with everything that we're doing here for the broadcast. Listen, we've talked a lot about it, Jayla. We've got some fantastic people who are hanging out with us and putting on a show, not only in game, but also as a casting pair. And guess what? We are coming to you guys very, very soon. It's going to be Fallout and Jamerson who are taking us through this next game. And boy, I'm excited to see how the action continues to pick up. Will TSM reclaim their throne? NRG and Noble kind of in that dark horse spot. What will they do? Let's find out as we send it over to your casters for our next game.
Rain Day, Jayla, thank you so much. Fallout here, joined alongside Jamerson, getting ready for game number 4 in this one. The dropship is loaded and players are launching. So let's go ahead and jump right into gameplay when we can. As it looks like we do have a 5-way race is what it looks like in our top 5. Mostly those top 3 or 4. It's Rogue, Noble, NRG, TSM, and then Complexity lagging behind with 21 points in 5th place. We'll keep a close eye on those 5 rosters as they're looking to run away with this one. But Jamerson, going into game 4, anything in particular you're looking out for?
In particular right now is, of course, once again, TSM. Is this a return to form? You know, the last few weeks, the last few online tournaments, there seems to be a little cloud of despair that came across TSM where they were just trying to figure out what's going wrong. But now they're back to almost that consistency that we saw before the fall in OT3. Finally coming in end, their win streak, the TSM, a dynasty that was. And so I want to see if they can continue this trend with 2 more games to go.
Yeah, it's a good call out. Meanwhile, we have the likes of Rogue. Team Liquid has won, Skirt has won, a few other rosters that have won championships and online tournaments more recently. Really, the only of those three you got to think is Rogue in a position to potentially close this out. So, can Rogue start to try and match the two online tournaments that TSM has won on top of the other 5 tournaments that they've won total? Is the question. TSM has really been the dynasty to kick off Apex Legends. Has slowed down a little bit. They didn't qualify for the last online tournament, as you mentioned. They're coming back with a vengeance here, and they've been playing incredibly well with multiple top 3 finishes. So we'll see if TSM can continue that run. Meanwhile, we're on board with the team. They're tricky here as we're watching to see as they're rotating over towards Fragment East. Jamerson, talk to me a little about what you've seen so far from a ring pull perspective. What ring are we going to see here in late game?
Right now, it does look like we do have a northwestern ring, and so very similar to what we got in game number 1. But I don't know if it'll pull as hard towards Trials. It looks like I did get the beacon there, and so
might be something good this way.
for the next few fights, as it looks like it will be going over in that direction. So a lot of teams are going to be looking to take the north side drill kind of cliff, where you have the champion banners that you can really play and have really good line of sight all the way to the south. And of course, trying to control any building within drill site proper will be the main focus for a lot of our teams.
Yep, there you have it. Thank you for the breakdown as always, Jamerson. Good to get your insight and perspective. Meanwhile, a team that is very far from that location is Noble, as they're going to have quite the rotation to make, coming all the way from Dome. That's going to be a far rotation for them. So they've placed top 3 twice. They've had some very consistent gameplay. They're currently in 3rd place, tied with NRG with 35 points. A good opportunity here, but it's going to be quite the rotation that they're going to have to make all the way from Dome towards that ring. So we'll see and keep an eye on them as they make their way over. Meanwhile, Team 303, it's Scissors, Fury, and Phonyhead in a pretty good spot to try and get the early rotation over.
I believe this is Complexity on the other side here. As Complexity, we're looking for a team trying to spot anyone out in Epicenter, but it looks like Trouble found them.
Let's go this way.
Exactly right. On board 303 and Complexity right now, as it looks like they're getting in a little bit of a fight early on, but I think they're just going to back out and reset. They value their lives, and it might be a wise decision. 303 obviously a little bit behind from a points perspective, though, so they're going to need a high kill game plus a high finish game if they want to kind of bounce their way back into this. So it might not be a bad idea to take some of these fights, but if it's Complexity, if they know it's Complexity, it's not a 3 versus 3 they necessarily want to take. So currently going to back out, rotate through Fragment, and try to take whatever loot is left in Fragment. Looks like there's not going to be much. Meanwhile, we talked about the journey, the trek that Noble has to make all the way from the Dome to where the ring is, and they are certainly making their way over through towards the tree and slowly trying to get their way towards that rotation as fast as they can, leveraging a Wraith portal as well to get there.
It looks like they will get to safety here, and so this is going to be interesting. It looks like they do just want to try and push up the west side of the map here, which is why they're going such a roundabout way. And so this is a path that's going to basically leave a lot of teams off of their rotation. I'm surprised that they ran into anyone at all. Someone's still in sorting factory, and so I think they were just as surprised as we were that they got shot at.
Exactly, especially this late into the round here too. It's a little shocking to see someone towards sorting factory right now, but interesting path they're taking. We'll keep an eye on that, and big shout out to our observing team for watching that journey and giving us overhead of where the maps are so we can see how they're making that rotation. Meanwhile, on board of Team Liquid, a squad that has won a championship, and we thought kind of emerged as a top 2, top 3 team in North America, did not necessarily have the online tournament number 5 they would have liked after winning, I believe it was online tournament number 3 or 4. We're currently on board with Team Liquid, seeing what they can do, as they're currently way behind in the leaderboards. And look how many teams have already ascended towards drill site on that rotation, Jamerson.
Yeah, it looked like Team Liquid were listening in on our stream, even though we've got a 5-minute delay here. They took that position that I was talking about, the north side of drill site, where you can play that cliff. It's absolutely safe. You can have good sight lines over whatever your flanks are, and holding it down, especially with the Watson, is extremely easy. And so that's a position that you want to be in if you want to be, of course, in center zone, but primarily try to play for the third parties, try to get any kind of poke off from distance and get that KP safely without having to commit to any fights.
Yeah, that's a wise decision. Meanwhile, smart rotation coming through here from Sama, Marianas, and Pride Junior Claws. They're able to be really the only team working their way through these train tracks all the way through Skyhook. So playing a safe rotation on the high side of the map, they're not going to see much resistance as they make this rotation. As I didn't believe I saw any teams on the map. They're kind of hugging the outskirts and working their way in.
Let's explore this.
As they don't have necessarily intel with that Pathfinder just yet. Beacon intel as to where that next ring is going to be. So I wonder if they're going to stop at Skyhook and try to get some beacon intel on that way through. And speaking of which, that's why we're seeing a lot of Pathfinder play still, even after the nerf, even even after thought that was the burial of Pathfinder in competitive Apex, well, we still see the majority of teams in Europe and in North America playing Pathfinder. The reason for that is his passive, his beacon. The ability to know where the ring is going to be, rotate and get a prime position is why TSM has been so successful throughout their tenure in competitive Apex, and that stays true here in Online Tournament number 6 and in Season 5, no change.
Yeah, we were on board with aim assist right there, and we were talking about finding a roundabout rotation to not to, get into too many fights while you're trying to make it into the zone, but it looked like they were spotted out. 303 was the team that was coming on in, but now we're back over here at Skyhook. Got a push coming out from Zeratrix's team, but they've got a Caustic in their way.
That's exactly right. It looks like a fight may ensue here. Still 20 squads left, so no early game action. We didn't see any contests or what we call 50-50s where teams will trade a fight on hotspots like Fragment East. Meanwhile, looks like they do have a fight here that is looming. Will they take it or will they opt for a rotation? This is the same crew that we saw earlier in Game 4 as they're kind of just scouting out, trying to find that team, and they're going to back out and reset. No fight will ensue here. Just some healthy pokes, and Mercy and Co., who's the Team Zeratrix, is going to rotate through.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what they're doing with this looting, with this route, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and cut down Skyhook and no longer maybe shoot for the western edge of this circle. So this might be the wise play here and try and buy some time. Try to get a little bit more information about where teams are right now, because take a look. This is one of the slower lobbies we've had so far, where only one player has gone down. There's a knock-on to Frex's. So we're back on board with aim assist over here at Thermal Station. They've got 303 pinned down.
Yep, but they are in the ring right now taking damage. This is a bit of a standoff, and this is a standoff I don't think if you're either team that you want to be in. Sentinels, of course, led by Xenox here, is the team that is currently getting just rained fire down on and getting damaged quite a bit. So you got to think this is a bad situation for Sentinels. It's going to result in nothing good, really, especially for them. Honestly, for either team, I think finally Aim Assist is going to recognize that and say, hey, guys, it's not worth 3 kill points. Let's get ourselves a rotation. Let's be a little smarter here. But you better believe they're going to keep tracking and kind of stormtrooping on these Sentinel squad as they wait to see how they rotate in, because they're going to have to come in somewhere. Will they go through tracks, or will they go through that choke point? 2 key choke points that I think we're going to have Aim Assist watching on both sides. So it's going to be a tough rotation for Sentinels.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to be trying to hunt down for this. I mean, Aim Assist love to take fights up close, and that's kind of their MO. They want to be right on top of you, and it's easy if you're forced into them. Right now, though, on board with Bowser as he's dropped down to 20 HP.
It's going to be the Yeet Squad here in the trials, and that's going to be all she wrote for the Yeet Squad. Team Nicewig going to get taken out early here in trials by, I believe that is Solafide. Actually, no, they're getting kills elsewhere on the map. Solafide is getting some kills, but it's going to, it is going to be Solafide in the fight towards trials. Good kills picked up right there by Team Solafide, who's been a really, really good squad. If you're a fan of a squad that is just stuck together, has worked and improved every single game, very similar in my eyes to Nasty Strafe and Dell on the European side. They really started as an underrated team, weren't considered a top 3 or top 5 team in North America, and slowly but surely increased and improved their placements every single online tournament. And now they are a staple. You got to put them in the running for top 5 in North America, undoubtedly. And it's a lot of the reason is for this guy right here, Metro, controller player on this team, former football player who's going to go to the University of Maryland and play D1 football, got in a horrible car accident and damaged his back significantly, and really kind of found an outlet in competitive Apex. And since then, has put everything into Apex. So big shout out to Metro of Team Solafide. I'm excited to see his career continue to flourish and develop, as Solafide has been a great team to watch. And big shout out to the Solafide organization as well.
Yeah, it's an incredible story coming out of course. Gamers doing such amazing things. Right now, though, Complexity, they're the ones that always get aggressive, and now they're going to push forward on this squad.
That's what we're used to seeing. Complexity with a bit of a trap here on over towards Train Yard. Going to get some good shots in. That's going to be another clean team wipe. And guess what? That's going to be on the Aim Assist squad that was kind of griefing in the storm earlier against Sentinels. Decided to rotate. That was the right decision, but it's a difficult situation when you get kind of trapped by Complexity, who's going to get an easy 3 kills right there. So that's 1 full squad wipe for Complexity. Currently in 5th place with 21 points, so certainly not out of this yet. They could have 2 big games here and finish on top if they could pop off. Meanwhile, Rocker's going to take out Fury of 303, so we're seeing some squad wipes come through. Only 17 squads remain in this one.
Yeah, we've also got Lil Poggies to their north as well, and so that's what a lot of teams are going to do right now, take positioning over here at Drill Site, as we don't have further information about where the next ring will go. No team's really able to secure that right now. But the fact that Little Pugs are now down to 2 in a position where it's going to be difficult for them. They can try to go for, of course, that res right outside, but it's going to be so tricky with, of course, Team Liquid having that nice position up on the hill. They can look down at them. There are 2 other teams, I believe, in the immediate area as well. But Force, putting down some decent damage might buy them an opening to try and go for the Zenial respawn.
Yep. And we've seen all types of respawns come through from Little Poggies already, of course, in game number 2. Not game number 1, by the way. Sorry for the brain fart earlier. As we're currently watching Mercy, Zeritricker, and Mr. Hoculo. We're still in Skyhook. I like the decision. I was actually going to say it earlier. They should try and rotate to the building with the beacon. Try to grab that beacon. That could be crucial for them. But they're going to be met with resistance there. Some other team is actually already thinking the same exact thing. So look at this. Literally just across the wall. And you love this X-ray vision that you have with this beautiful spectator mode now in Apex Legends, where we can kind of see the player outlines. If you're maybe new to competitive Apex, the players cannot see that, obviously. We only get to see that as spectators. So it's an interesting fight. It looks like Mercy is playing with a little bit of fire, as the Caustic that's going to be in there. So yeah, you're not going to want to necessarily push a Caustic, who is perfectly set up right now. And obviously that Caustic means they're not running a Pathfinder, so they're not going to be able to grab that beacon. And I think Mercy, or Zeritricky, sorry, could grab that beacon if he does want to. We'll see if he decides to play for it.
I appreciate what Mercy is trying to do, bait them out into the line of fire of Zeritricky, as they understand they've got some time to work with. Zeritricky going on in. Nice spray with that R9 is going to force the Q out of the Wraith.
That's exactly right. It looks like a fight is going to ensue, so they decide with a lot of confidence to push this Caustic team, who set up quite well. Zeritricky, Hoculo, and Mercy. By the way, Hoculo only has 50 shield to his name. They got some good shots in. The Wraith will be able to heal up. Mercy's trying to be the playmaker and get some wingman shots, but he's not going to connect. Here comes his teammates instead. They are trapped right now like rats in a cage. Caustic, of course, playing down some Caustic gas, trying to keep his team in a decent situation. Nades are going to come through as well. This is an intense fight right now between these two teams. A lot of tension in this one. It looks like things are going to kind of reset here. I don't think there's a good opportunity for either team to push.
He hit him for flash, and now he's trying to finish him off. 38-38, almost got the knock. He's so close. But what they can do at this point, with 30 seconds to go, getting the knock is going to be huge. And now they have, of course, just the man advantage. They can go ahead and play for position instead. But the port is coming out now, and Haculo's on the hunt.
Yeah, here it is. And it looks like Wraith is just going to back out and reset. So that's going to be the Caustic who went down, and that's going to be a kill picked up. So they had an opportunity. Very well played right there by Team Zeritricky. I love the setup. And of course, they tried placing the portal for that Caustic, but they're right behind them. That's going to be a team wipe coming through, I believe, for Zeritricky, as we heard the sound effects come through. Meanwhile, Solified in an intense fight right here. And I believe we have an opportunity in a moment to jump into a listening with Solified. I'll wait for that confirmation, as I'd love to kind of hear what's going on with the comms of Team Solifide. Currently on board with Clarify, Pride, and of course Metro, who I mentioned earlier, former competitive football player. The comms are ready. Let's go ahead and jump into a listen-in with Team Solifide.
No, but it's not TSM, Cole, NRG, or any...
They're taking over right now. The Gibby team's taking over where we want to take.
Damn.
Taking the other side, the left side.
Yeah, they took the other side. Honestly, that's better. We want this side. The other side's rough.
Well, then Portal, we should go to the other side late then. Or like just run up and then Portal.
And it's going to be Solifide right there, picking up 3 kills. And guess who it is against? It is against the number 4 Rogue squad, who I think Solifide is in 6th. They're looking to take Rogue out, which is huge, as an opportunity to leapfrog them in the overall standings. You better believe that's going to be a good chance to do that. They picked up, I believe, what was their 6th kill. Actually, I take that back. 5 kills already for Pride alone. That is absolutely insane. Good kill, good 3 versus 3 fight coming in from Solifide. And our apologies, is we did have the wrong team right there in terms of overall listening. Just want to be a bit transparent in that, as that's why the comms were a bit clear and concise. I was like, I was expecting to be a little more hectic in that fight right there, Jamerson.
But that is huge, especially because of all the kill points that they picked up, and taking out a direct competitor, Rogue. We're leading them 10 points at the leaderboard before this now, and so Solifide posturing really well now in game number 4. We'll see. We swap on over to Team Liquid, still in that position on the high ground. Nocturnal knocked, but I'm surprised that they haven't been able to do more with this position so far, with the amount of fights that have been going on in the chokes to their north and their northwest.
Yeah, Team Liquid very well positioned right now, and obviously well shielded as well. If you look at their overall resources as a team, purple shields for Casper and Nocturnal, of course blue. as well. On board with Mazer. Mazer playing with no Cocoa Puffs and Nocton. You gotta think this might be it for him. The portal should come through momentarily. Zach Mazer doing everything he can. Gets some good, massive shots. The valiant effort. He finally gets taken out. Meanwhile, NRG finds himself in a scuffle as well. Reps, keep an eye at the top right of your screen, the kill feed. They did get the kill on Zach, so TSM continues to pick up some kill points. Meanwhile, NRG 303 currently in a fight over towards Drill Site. And it looks like 303 is going to place a nice little cheeky zip line for themselves to try and get some high ground if they can.
You have the knock, Team Liquid trying to make that move, but now Flanker going down low. It's going to be all up to Nocturnal here, trying by space for Flanker, but he's going down. Now it's all up to Nocturnal.
Exactly right. Nocturnal last member alive for Team Liquid. Flanker is still down, but you got to think he's quite far away. Will he try and go get a res here? A cheeky little res with so many teams nearby, or will he just save his life and try to rat his way to a top finish? I think teasing the res or playing for the res is the right call. Liquid is so far behind in overall points that they need to get kills, and to get kills, you need some teammates. So a res will be sneak. Meanwhile, TSM finds himself in a bit of a fight here. And that's actually going to be against Rogue, not the team Rogue, but the player Rogue, as it looks like TSM is going to down Rogue. Imperial Hal goes down, however, by Prodigy Aces, so Reps already taken out. Imperial Hal is down. Albralelli, the last member alive here. Solafide is going to pick up some more kills. So a pop-off game here for Solafide, which is much needed as they were in 6th or 7th place in the standings. And TSM in a potentially difficult situation between a rock and a hard place here.
Al will be able to pick up his skill points for his team, which is the important part. Right now, they are leading the leaderboard. You want to make sure they get every single KP, every single knock has to be converted into that so they can maintain this, and especially if they can make it into the top 5. Make sure that they post up points onto this as we head into game number 5 right now. Back on board with Solafide there, playing on the north-hand side. We got 9 squads left, 24 players remaining.
There you have it. Solafide in a decent spot to rotate towards that ring. Keep an eye on the top left of your screen where that ring is going to condense to. So Solafide, well positioned, going to be taking some damage here in a bit of a difficult situation as they're going to be healing up, trying to survive here. It looks like we do have the team comms available this time for Solafide. Let's go ahead and jump back into a listen-in with Solafide.
Pride, give me gold helm before you do that. I need ult.
Oh my god, I just dropped. No!
Yeah, here. Take the armor, quick. Give me gold helm.
Dropped it.
Popping a cell.
I'm trying to bully left team.
Getting shot from both sides. I'm using all my cells.
You have to stay healthy. You have to stay healthy. They have to push towards us. You guys need to be fucking throwing nades right here. They have to walk in front. I only have a therm.
I'm gonna bubble right here. They're running around, far left. Hit rate blue, 24. They're going down.
They fucked off.
We have light on me. Kid to left.
I'm bubbling up. I bubbled.
Push
this.
Watson one.
I just got ripped. I'm gonna pop bubble real quick.
They bub.
I'm popping my only bad. I only have 1 cell left. Give me dead. I'm dead. From behind. I'm trying to bubble. Get behind my shield. You can hold my shield.
Ultimate.
You're good.
We need to get the finish.
I'm dead. There's an armor swap behind you, Pride. Behind you. They're pushing up. Claire, armor swap.
Playing low, Claire.
They're pushing up. They're up near. They're up on rock.
Flare stuff. Try to run. They're gonna fight. We play for second here. You went into them. Fuck.
There you have it. Great to get those comms in at a perfect moment. Unfortunate for Solafide. They're going to get taken out, but they will get 4th place here as it currently stands. Actually, I believe they got 3rd place as Pride was the last one to die. So a great game for Solafide. Great to get those comms as they had to make those rotations. You hear how they do it. You see the armor swap. You see the helmet swap. In the middle of all that pressure, the fact that they're able to swap armor and swap helmet like that is great. Meanwhile, 2 teams remain in this one. It's going to be what we dubbed as the McCarthy Bros. I know Rain Day like that one going up against. I'm not sure. Is it NRG that's last alive here, Jamerson?
It is NRG that is still alive right now. They're on the north-end side now. They do have the, of course, the benefit of some cover to work with on this rotation here, while Shiny, Muffins, and BCJ are going to wrap around. They've got a little bit of cover themselves here. Might actually be in on this corner.
And so some revenge potentially for McCarthy. Of course, that's Muffins and Shiny, the twins from Washington area, playing alongside BCJ and NRG. It's the same exact setup we saw in Game 2 A 3 versus 3 fight between these two squads. This time, it is even playing grounds in terms of elevation. It's going to be BCJ getting some good shots in, but Shiny's going to go down here. 2 versus 2 fight. All up to BCJ. Last member alive. He has some shield to his name. Gets a good flank through. Gets some good shots. He downs one. Can he get the double kill? Goes for it. Hits a good shot, but he has 2 HP in a dream. He finally gets taken down, and that will be it. Rex is able to clutch the 1 versus 1, but a valiant effort from BCJ, one of the most talented FPS players in esports, as it is going to be NRG who comes out on top again in the 3 versus 3 fight. A huge game for NRG, and that propels them in the leaderboards, Jamerson.
That is going to be absolutely nuts, and at this point, it is impossible to tell who is currently in the lead. I'm sorry, I don't have Rain Man kind of math here, and so I'm really excited to see exactly where we land, because I said it was important for TSM to try and survive for as long as they could. They picked up a lot of kill points, and so they are still in contention, and so I don't know if they've been knocked out of first place right now, but with NRG getting these 2 huge games, along with Shiny Muffins and BCJ having another repeat performance like this, the level of competition has become so equal here in North America.
Yeah, evenly distributed points right now. It's not as top heavy as we saw in a few other of the North American finals with TSM on top. I mean, TSM had 43 points, NRG had 35 points. That's 12 guaranteed points. TSM got taken out relatively early, and I think had a few kills to their name. So again, we're not Rain Man. We're not going to be able to calculate all of that on a whim here. We'll let you know as soon as we do find out. But I mean, you have to say that might propel NRG to a first place finish, topping TSM. And then let's talk about Solafide. I mean, they take out Rogue, who was in 4th place, kind of controlling their own destiny. They were in 6th, I believe. That should put Solafide in a potential top 4 as well. And of course, Noble was in 3rd. So that shakes things up quite a bit. It looks like it's going to be a crazy finish here yet again. North American finals. Spread the word and get hyped. I'll tell you that much, as we have a 3 or 4 team race for first place. So game 4 certainly did not disappoint. Game number 5 is going to be coming next. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to the desk with Rain Day and Ninjala.
Jamerson Fallout, fantastic cast, boys, and it was a fantastic finish as well. A real slobber knocker. I mean, you got to say, there's a lot that went down in that final fight, and Jayla, we were kind of clenching our teeth. We were holding our breath. We were like, wow, this could be a huge turnaround for BCJ. But unfortunately, the storm got in the way, or the ring got in the way, and it was NRG who claimed the top spot yet again. What was your thought watching all that back?
Dude, whenever the transfer positions where the high ground and the low ground switch positions, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He has Eva, but he maybe he can bring this win home for his team. Unfortunately, he did take the storm damage. Honestly, I was interested to see the fight between Solafide and Complexity. Monsoon, they almost had it. They almost made top 3. So it was cool to see Monsoon's team like really get closer. I see maybe they're inching their way closer to the top 3. Maybe we'll see something. They were pretty aggressive this game too, so I'm liking that.
And that aggression, I think, Jayla, sorry to cut you off, but I think it's like we've seen that work and not work. And it's kind of, though, found them in a net positive location, right? They've kind of gone towards the top end of the top 10 and hitting in those top 6s and 4s and staying involved, not necessarily being top 3 and winning, but they've been around with the potential to pop off for like a huge game, especially with all the kills that they've been grabbing. So really amazing stuff. We do have some final standings for game 4 coming up for you, though, as those are ready, and we do have those in hand. And of course, you know, NRG, they are the ones who are on top of things as far as getting that victory. But it was BCJ, Ice Shiny, and Muffins, the 2 McCarthy brothers, and Big Boss BCJ, as we're kind of joking around with them. These guys are playing phenomenally. I don't care about the ring. I think, Jayla, like what I'm seeing from them, it's a total new powerhouse as far as their performance as we look at this final moment here.
Yeah, to be able to compete like 3v3 2 times with NRG, and honestly, it ended up in a 1v1. Unfortunately, he did take that storm damage and die, but honestly, it could have been anybody's game right there. So it was cool to see that like clean 3v3 again. They reset and they went directly into that fight, and unfortunately, it didn't work out too well for the McCarthy brothers. But it's nice to see NRG doing their thing.
It is nice. I mean, it's a little refreshing, to be honest. This is a storyline we were preparing in Poland. Like, you know, it's been since last September we've been trying to talk about NRG showing up big, a team with a ton of fan base behind them and a ton of really, I think, momentum heading into it. And finally, we're seeing this could be the turning point. We've got game 4 results ready for you, like Ed mentioned earlier. Now we can bring them up on to your screen, and it is NRG with first place, but Solafide, holy crap, they take second place with 13 kills, nearly doubling everyone else besides NRG and then some in the lobby. So they earn themselves 20 points. That is going to be huge for them. iShiny Muffins, BCJ, they grab 15. Complexity with 11, as we mentioned, in 4th place. And then TSM with 7 points in 6th place. That is going to be a really good show for NRG. And TSM are going to fall a little bit to 2nd now, Jayla. NRG 5 points ahead heading into game 5 with 55 points at the top of the leaderboard. Solafide right behind Team Solo Mid with 10 points behind them at 40. And then you got Noble White, iShiny Muffins, BCJ rounding out the top 5. Complexity also tied for 5th there with iShiny Muffins, BCJ. But Jayla, look at this. I mean, reactions here. NRG, TSM, it is a fight for first between 2 juggernauts right now. And there's still a lot of teams in contention right below that.
These are definitely 2 powerhouses, NRG, TSM. So it's interesting to see them at the top. It could be NRG's like first win for the online tournament. So I'm kind of rooting for them. I know TSM, has their track record of being the winners, being on top, but NRG making their name for themselves in this tournament could be like really good for them.
It's kind of this interesting way where you look at life and we're all looking at things in a bigger picture, right? And sometimes you go through these failures again and again, and you go through the wrong things to get to the eventual right place. If you hadn't taken all the wrong turns, you never would have been on the journey to learn what you need to do to get to where you need to eventually be. And that's what it feels like NRG have kind of gone on. They've been on their slipshod journey. They've kind of gone back and forth in terms of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But it feels like they found the right path here, Jayla. And it is setting up for either TSM to really look like reclaiming their throne after not being involved in OT5. And it looks like NRG maybe doing something at the very last OT that we hadn't seen them do before, which is take the victory and kind of claim the top spot in NA. Overall, though, if there's another team, we talked about Complexity, talked about Solafide, we got iShiny Muffins, the McCarthy brothers, and BCJ. Who's standing out to you the most for OT6 and this final game?
Honestly, I'm kind of liking the McCarthy brothers. Just like me not knowing too much about them before, this tournament today, and seeing how they've ended up in the top 3 twice with NRG and competed 3v3s down to a 1v1 and ended up just making it that far it says a lot to me. So I'm kind of looking out for them. Maybe, they'll get top 3.
I hope so. I mean, it's looking like it's shaping up to be a very exciting end to the OTs before we head into the Super Regionals. And we've got highlights of all these exciting ends coming up for you right now as well. Let's take a look at them as we talk about themes of the day. This early start here where we saw just TSM with a beautiful position into the high ground, but you also saw the way that they would get dropped down on, and just the noble, really, I think, aggression into Rogue being able to sweep up that fight as a third party. This is where NRG got going, Jayla. Right at Tree, they started to really find some momentum here.
For sure. This was the first game that they won. That was really interesting, seeing how they dropped down and from the high ground to take that fight. So and they won it. And they won that game. And this right here, this is TSM. TSM's win. I'm rooting for them too. Against the Amos sisters, and this one we have. This is when Solafide took out Rogue. That was huge for them, considering Rogue is one of the top teams. So Solafide is definitely making a name for themselves as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think him, Clarify and Metro, and the way that Solafide as a squad, not only just kind of some standout moments from those players, but I think the way that as a unit that they're working together, it's been really great to see them all continue to grow as a unit in these ALGS tournaments. But, to me, the finish there, BCJ almost clutching it, the way that they were aggressive throughout all of these games, TSM, Rogue, we've seen NRG, we've seen NRG again, taking the second win of the day for them. And now it's starting to get interesting here. Game 5, we've got so many different teams in contention within about 12 points of one another. Jayla, I ask this question all the time. How do we get through this game 5? Do you go the same direction as you've done, NRG? Do you just stay unfazed, keep the course, or do you try to do something different and just wild out and say, let's just seal this, let's put this away, let's pop off and get a little more aggressive?
I'm feeling like maybe the teams on the lower end of the spectrum of the leaderboard might be trying some different things. So if they do things differently, then the other players at the top might have to play differently, and match accordingly. So we'll see how everybody does in this last match, how they decide to play.
And that's going to be the difference. I've seen it go a lot of different ways, Jayla. NRG here. A little bit of a back on top tweet from Binary on Twitch. He says, let's go. Back on top, baby. Hashtag ALGS. NRG certainly back where a lot of fans at the beginning of their roster signing and their content signing and the beginning of the Dizzy Wingman days and things like that, where they expected NRG to be. It's been a arduous journey to get to this place, but one game away, and they actually have a chance to take OT6 and head into Super Regionals as the Kings of North America, at least from this tournament as well. Jayla, if you've been following Super Regionals, I've talked about the schedule. What are you most excited about with these Super Regionals as we get a last chance to speak about them here?
What am I most excited about? I'm just excited. Honestly, I'd say I'm excited to be on it and to be casting, to be honest. It's going to be a pretty exciting experience. I'm enjoying my time here with you guys, so hopefully that continues on into the summer.
And you've been doing great, Joe. Honestly, I mean, it's not easy to come in. So many things going on in the world, so many things going on in your first broadcast, and you're doing such a great job with me and then with Fallout earlier, flexing so many different positions. It's been on a really fun time working with you, and we've still got some more gameplay and some more death segments coming, so we will get to those in a second. But remember, at Play Apex is where you can find us on socials, on Twitter, at YouTube, and on Twitch. Of course, use hashtag ALGS if you want to get featured. Maybe show Jayla some love on there. It's her first show. She's killing it. Obviously, big content creator in the Twitch community, so we want to always shout back and show love to where love has been given here. It's been a fantastic show, and game number 4 just finished. NRG with another win. TSM 5 points away in second place, and we've got so many other competitors looking for that top spot in North America. It is wide open, and we do not know what's going to happen, but we're going to send it to 2 gentlemen who are going to guide us through the action. Game 5 begins in just a moment, and let's send it over to your casters to get it started.
Well, here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute pleasure to bring you the Game 5 that we've all been looking forward to. Onset and Hodzik going to talk you through the action. And Hodzik, we've got 4 teams, I would say, that are really in contention to become a champion. You've got NRG, top of the leaderboard at the moment, 55 points. TSM just in behind on 50. Solar Fide with a big performance that we've just seen on 40 points. And Noble White just behind them on 39. Our big question coming into this is we feel like Circle could potentially have a big influence on who potentially comes out on top here, as we do see the players now dropping into World's Edge for our game number 5.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Circle's determined so much in this game. You saw the first game that NRG won, Tree Circle. NRG lands Tree. As far as I remember, I know Franks really likes that spot. You saw the thermal station Circle. I believe Aim Assist lands there, and they were second on that one. So Circle certainly determines a lot. If we see a northbound Circle, things will get really interesting. TSM, for those that don't know, they drop Fragment East. So it would be interesting to see both these teams so close to each other have to work for their rotation and see how that plays out. And as we see the Circle, oh man,
wow,
it's a Tree Circle. Potentially a Tree, maybe a South Thermal Circle. So this one could potentially be handed. It's NRG's game to throw, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, big early success here for NRG. Something they couldn't control, but something that they will take every single day of the week. You saw that Pathfinder beacon. We saw that second circle over the top of Tree and, of course, thermal station. So the fact that they've got that early rotation and they essentially can just set up and be the first team into a prime position is huge for them at the top of the leaderboards here. For TSM, they're going to be making an early rotation from Fragment East, like you mentioned, but one team that's also going to be following them in is Solar Fide, who are currently in 3rd place. So I'll be interested to see if we do see maybe a clash between TSM and Solar Fide here, potentially on the rotation.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting to see, but you know TSM is not taking any fight right now. They're not taking chances. They typically don't take fights on their rotations, so I would be very surprised if they took one here. But, I mean, Solar Fide has been landing next to them for, like, the last 3 tournaments. They don't typically run into each other. So, and that's actually, ironically, that is like the mark of, in my opinion, some really like just smart teams. I'll never understand why, you know, there's some teams that will drop next to each other and they feel the need to like poke at each other and kill each other. It's really, the smart teams can be identified by the ones that value rotating more than anything, more than just one little measly fight. So the fact that they drop right next to each other and they almost never run into each other, definitely a big testament to how much those teams value positioning.
Yeah, I think it's value in positioning, but also maybe just a bit of respect to each other as well. You know, if there's two teams that probably don't want to fight against each other, it's Solafide and TSM, because you know that's going to be an extremely tough fight for them to take. But you can see Complexity here up on top of the building, and they're got a little bit to say about the team underneath them as well. They're trying to get aggressive, and Complexity currently set down in 6th place on 32 points. And we always say that if there's going to be a team who can put in a monster bomb performance, it would be Complexity, but maybe a little bit too much for them to do here. But we are seeing the push in now, and it is going to be a clean wipe there. So Complexity early on here with some AP on the board, and that's the kind of momentum they may need to push them through. But look at this, TSM on that rotation, out early down to 1 HP, but they have managed to at least restabilize a little bit. But looking across the inventory of these teams at the moment, you've got white armors, you've got the Evo shield there on Reps as well, a blue armor now onto Albralele, I think he's just found. So that's going to be at least something to work with, but scary moments there for TSM, and they've only managed to move up to this little building outside of Sorting Factory.
Absolutely, and TSM, I mean, you know, you might be looking at this and thinking, you know, wow, their armor situation isn't great, which obviously it's not. But if there's anything that, if you've ever studied any of TSM's gameplay, you'll know that TSM is very good at playing. They're one of the reasons they're so successful is they are really one of the best teams at playing with little to no loot. Before in Season 3, if you remember where Harvester is now, used to be Field Depot, and that's where TSM landed. And that was some of the worst loot in the game, but they still made it work. They still played really high and won tournaments at Fuel Depot. So they are very experienced at playing with little to nothing. So don't count them out just because you see, oh man, they got bad armors. Might be a rough one for them. They're just really smart at picking their fights and getting into the right spot. So not too worried about seeing them do poorly.
Yeah, it goes back even further than that. You take ourselves back to Kings Canyon, dropping Cage, you know, not the highest of loot tables there either, and they did so much work with those limited resources, shall we say. But early fights going on here right across the board. We're seeing a fight here over in Lava City, and it's going to be Rambo who's desperately trying to get away, I should say. Prodigy Ace is taking down to no shields as well, so he's going to have to pop this bat here, and plenty of action going down at the start of game number 5. But we should mention as well, not really action that is going to potentially affect the teams that are currently at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see a lot of these edge fights taking, so I don't know if you caught it, but there's actually 3 teams fighting here. Rogue's team here, I'm not sure which team, I didn't catch the names, which team they were chasing. But then as they were chasing them, Rogue, the NRG player, Rogue, the team, got shot in the back by Sentinels, and I think that's Sentinels kind of sending on them right now. It is, indeed. So actually a lot of teams here look to see maybe the other team coming back to third party this as Joey Blackout goes down. And there it is.
They wiped that. Now we're on board with Liquid as they're moving over towards that thermal station, the 2 buildings just outside of it on the height of this ridge here, and this ridge is such a vital area to try and hold down. Looks like Team Liquid are trying to get aggressive onto this building. They realize how vital that is, and it's Rogue who have lost dropped here in this fight. He's been finished as well, but they have managed to recover the banner from him, and it looks like Sweet now definitely trying to portal out and just get his teammates sniped down into a position maybe where they can re-solidify themselves, maybe look for a res to get, of course, drop back into the game and get up to a full complement of players.
Absolutely, and these players respect each other to know that, you know, they aren't going to be 2v3ing another top team. So Rogue, having gotten the banner, they know their only play is to get out and get the res up on their teammate. Liquid not opting to chase that; they prefer to they're preferring to have a better position on to make sure they lock down this choke. This is a very strong and important choke to hold because it basically. You can go, the circle can shift to South Thermal, those like 2 little buildings on the way southern end of Thermal, or it's going to shift all the way to Tree. So holding that choke plays a lot of, it controls a lot of the tempo of the game and gives you options, more importantly, when you know where the circle is going to end. You're not stuck on one end or the other. So holding that choke, it's a little bit difficult with the terrain and how big it is, but if you can do it, it will pay dividends for you.
Well, I'm keeping my eyes on Complexity in this game because although they are fairly far behind that first place position as far as points on the board is concerned. They are picking up a heck of a lot of KP early on in this game. I think that's their second squad wipe that we've seen so far. That's already 6 points to them. But look at the kill feed again, and Xenox now and Noct getting very interested with TSM here, and that could be TSM in all sorts of problems. Not sure if Reps has managed to get away in all of that, or it looks like that is TSM out, like you say. And yeah, TSM will not be winning this tournament. NRG now in a fantastic position as they now move up as one of the last 14 squads left.
You know, NRG was looking at that kill feed the entire time, and they're now the conversation in NRG's comms right now is shifting to, we cannot take unnecessary risks. All we have to do is just play smart. Don't even force a fight. You don't have to. And it's interesting how like VR works like that. You know. So there's a lot of things, a lot of variables that can change while you're in the game, and that change the way you play. So they're just going to be look for them to be just playing super aggressive or super passive. Sorry, not take any big aggressive mistakes, and just try to win the tournament here.
And not only is that good news, for NRG, that's also great news for Solifide, who are watching at the moment, who are going to pick up a kill here on Bowser as he goes down, thanks to the hands of the Wingman and Pride. They're in third place at the moment. They were 15 points behind NRG at the start of this game. So with TSM taking themselves out of the equation in this Game 5, it means that Solifide are now the closest competitors to NRG as far as taking their throne.
Something to just note right here, Blitz and Noble just took out Frex completely. So NRG, I guess they got caught on their rotation here. They know it's going to end, or they think it's going to end here in the tree. NRG got caught out on that. Frex completely down. If you see, you can see his banner there. It's underneath the main part of tree. NRG or Nathan and Rock are nowhere near it. So I doubt they'll be making a play for it. And what's really tough about losing your Wattson, especially in a situation like this, is a lot of teams are going to look to play this house. If you don't have a Wattson, one of the things that's inherently missing on your team is showing the presence that you are in that building. You know, anytime teams are looking to rotate, they look for Wattson fences and for presence that, hey, a Wattson is in this building, this isn't free. So with that, having no Wattson to show presence like that, it could end up with one team just accidentally pushing NRG and forcing a fight 2v3 because they just didn't know they were in there, or a team calling, hey, this team doesn't have a Wattson, this is probably NRG because Frex died, let's push them. So of all players to die, it's really, really unfortunate that it's Frex.
Super nervy moments then for NRG fans who are watching at the moment. I'm sure they're there desperately hoping the last 2 players alive can pull out something special as far as their tournament is concerned, and at least scrape into those placements and make sure they keep that point advantage to take home the championship. We're going to see Sentinels moving in now and picking up more KP, and that's going to be onto the McCarthy brothers, and they will be going down. Now we're going to see them moving once again towards the ring now, playing the edge quite comfortably at the moment. They've got a fair few KP to their name as well, so lots of aggression being shown in this game by different various teams, and it seems like the aggressive teams at the moment are the ones who are having the success.
Right, I mean, this is when the wacky stuff starts to happen. The teams need kill points. Crust taking a lot of damage here. Seems like Xenox is trying to make the call to get the heck out. And then you see Complexity are the aggressors here.
Wade does come in as well. That's going to down Crust, and now you're going to see Peach with the Gibby shield up and trying desperately to get away. But the problem is, the one team is trying to get away from is Complexity, and a big, massive shot there is going to take down Peach, and now Xenox is going to be the last man alive for Sentinels, desperately trying to get away. The zone's closing in on him. Manages to get an armor swap to keep himself alive for just a few extra moments. And it looks like Complexity, no surprise, trying to chase him down because they see KP on the board, and that is what they need to make up this gap at the top.
Yeah, I mean, with TSM not being in it, that means they're pretty much stuck, I believe, at 50 points. It's not above Complexity to put up a 30-point game. Complexity can still come back, and even though they have the very W key playstyle, they know a lot of these teams that don't have points are forcing fights now because they know they need kill points, which is why you see a lot of fighting. It's zone 3. There's plenty of room still in the zone, but you only have 13 squads left. A lot of these teams know they need kill points. Solifide, don't be surprised if Solifide gets aggressive because they know that TSM is down. They know that that Frex is down on NRG. But they also know that they need points. So don't be surprised to see Solifide maybe taking some risks here. I believe they were 10 points behind TSM coming into this game. So it's really interesting as you get into the later stages of the tournament, how much the game and decision-making is influenced by just what happens in the kill feed. So it's very big events that have happened here. I'm curious to see how this all plays out.
And all the gunshots that are ringing out at the moment across World's Edge, they're going to be great news for NRG as well, because they still haven't been contested in that building there, right at the south side of the tree. So for every team that drops, that's a step closer to NRG winning this tournament potentially as they get into those high placement points. So very interesting developments to occur in the rest of this game number 5 in our final game here of online tournament number 6. Team Liquid still holding down this choke, and you can see exactly why. Still not sure on where that rotation is going to be, as they're now pinging some targets and maybe try and pick up some KP themselves.
Absolutely, they know they need a big game as well, and once you secure a really strong choke like this, you know no one's really at your back. That's why you saw them at the Rock. They're kind of scouting around to see if there's any teams, because they are going to get into a fight here, and once they get into a fight here, they need to know what teams are around them, and they need to know how much time they have to reset after they force a fight. So they're going to be looking to hold out. You see there's 2 teams. Obviously, they don't know this, but you see there's 2 teams right outside the choke here, and there's 1 team down in the tunnel. So they're going to be looking to hold all these teams out and just choke them out, hopefully picking up some easy kill points, and maybe securing themselves some even better loot.
We should move here.
G7 Scout going to be the perfect weapon for that as well, just harassing all the players that are trying to move in. However, Flanker gets absolutely beamed by some shots coming into him. He's going to be forced to back down here and pop the bat to get up to full armor. The thermite grenade's going to come in as well and back down very, very quickly. There's a portal flashing in front of him as well, so all sorts of action going down. And look at this complexity. Look at the inventory across the board here for all of these players. Lou, all red Evo shield. Look at Monsoon, purple on him, and Reptile with a full red Evo shield as well. And when you're an aggressive team and you like to push fights, having that extra HP is perfect here for complexity.
Absolutely.
Speaking of complexity, looks like they're in a battle at the moment. I want to see how the comms are in this complexity lineup, see how aggressive they're being, and see what the comms are like as they're trying to execute on these fights.
They're looking.
They're in. I'm going back.
Back up.
I'm just going in. Can we take mid? Or under mid or something? Can you look for it up there?
Yeah, I can definitely look.
TP?
I'm gonna TP right now, okay?
Yep.
Team from the south, Mon, is looking to move in.
Okay.
Just look for a good spot. If it's not good, we can just walk in and play under late. I took TP automatically.
Yeah.
Coming?
I think
we
we're fine.
can just take up top. Right? Can we just take up top?
Yeah, we can. If we need to take TP, we do. We don't have to play this. We don't have to, because this is sort of shit, bro.
We can always play fucking west.
Start setting up fences and shit. I think we're
getting
fine.
over here. 47 on that guy. 47 perp.
Hey, Mon, try not to agitate anybody, because the more people we shoot, the more people are gonna want to shoot at us.
This guy's in the middle of the open as well.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play under, because I think under's a little safer.
Okay. I mean, we can also play on both of these staircases.
There's a team here. They gotta come out, this team, so they're probably gonna try and play under us.
That's fun. We don't hold them. We drop on the last damage.
Yeah, how are you guys doing on med? I have 2 cell, 1 bat.
I have 12 here. I dropped you 4 right there.
I dropped you so much. We have a blue armor.
Yo, somebody grab the bat. Somebody grab the bat.
Look at them.
Yeah. Somebody grab the bat.
Look at them, boys. Look at them. I'll grab the bat. They're hard fighting there.
Yeah, I'm
gonna pop an ult cell to see if I can.
Yo, we might be able to third party. This is the best.
Going under. Almost cracked that guy.
I've cracked him. 20.
Yep, we just can't lose our spot. We have the spot.
Right here. I don't know what the fuck is happening, because this team's so...
Careful. Alright, we're chilling. I want to make sure North doesn't walk up on us. We're good. How many can we put more fences down?
Yeah, I can.
I'm not shooting at the team on top of the hill. How many shotgun shells do you guys have?
0.
Do you need some?
I have none reserve. Thank you.
That team's not in after this. That team's not in over there.
I hit him 110 on
purple. There's someone near us. Under us.
West. It's good. We just stay up. All we have to do is wait for the teams under us to fight, and then we can drop in third party.
Yep.
Just do not overpeak on the stairs.
I know. I almost knocked one down there.
Okay.
They have shit fucking armor. They have white armor, blue armor.
Yeah, I know. If we go down, we're gonna get thirded. Yeah, this team's already looking.
Okay.
This team's not in either, so they have to go somewhere.
I saw a bubble.
I just cracked one.
Bro, Gibby,
I cracked one too.
Come back up.
Yeah, I cracked Gibby. I'm
popping you back. The Jibby under us is literally 1 health. I hit him for 80 flesh.
They're safe
Where's
over
the
here.
Seagull left?
They're safe. What's up?
Oh, they are.
Okay. Under us right here, right here. Hit 150. 1 HP.
You can hear the comms there from Complexity, Hodzik. Lots of calls being made, lots of decisions being made. What stood out for you?
The biggest one, and I'm not surprised, but the one that I thought was really funny was the second they took this spot, Lou was saying, don't agitate teams, and Monsoon's over there calling damage, popping wingman shots across the map. Liquid going down here in a really strong spot as well.
And Complexity are the team who are putting pressure on as well. I see Cross going down. That's going to be Sentinels are taken out by Complexity. And RG as well. I've just seen in the feed as well. Zaku's taken down Rocker, so looks like Rogue being taken down as well. So many battles going down, and this might open the door here for Solar Fide potentially to steal it.
Still 3 men up.
Still alive down here. 3 men up, like you say. And with a little bit of time here just to reset and set up their next move, but Solar Fide have done a great job here of finding themselves into a position where the teams ahead of them have been taken down, so there's a real opportunity here for them to potentially steal away a first place spot here.
Yeah, terrible zone, though. Half of it is in the mountains, so this is going to be really tough for a lot of players. Basically, the game plan for most of these teams will be either A, play for kill points, or B, just stall your life as much as possible. Every millisecond you stall can give you more placement points, because teams are going to be dropping like flies. Half of this next circle is in. Don't be surprised to see only a top 3 situation after this one, so I'm curious to see if they go for kill points or just try to stall as much as possible. But then wasting their
to get another kill
can be really bad.
The bubble, as you say, early, we wasted a little bit. It means they're going to be trapped out in the open for all of these teams who are surrounding them to potentially land some nades and land some shots onto them. But Complexity are the team who are looking to land some massive shots. Monsoon's going to be moving in here. You can see 5 kills to the name of Monsoon. It's only him. Now using that Gibby bubble to try and get out of dodge here, but Complexity are taking damage. Monsoon does get taken down, so now it's just Reptar, the last man alive here. For Complexity has to pop the bat, and looking across the feed as well, it's actually not, and Zaku managed to pick up those kills, and now we're going to see Reptar dropping down. He picks up 1, goes back up top here. There is a Wraith in front of him, doesn't hit the wingman shot initially. Now there's some connecting. He's just surrounded by players here. He's desperately trying to stay alive, and that will be the end of Complexity's run in our game number 5.
And Solar Fide still standing strong as 3. This could be their game. They could very well be the winners here. I mean, they seem like they have decent kills across their team. All the other teams are fragmented and fighting each other over there. They might actually... This is almost their game to throw, kind of.
4 squads remaining then. You say Solar Fide, the one team who could potentially dethrone NRG, who are out of this game as we said, currently top of the leaderboard. Solar Fide on 40 points, 15 points behind before this game got underway. Force for the last man alive for this squad as well, desperately using that knockdown shield to try and keep him alive for just a few extra seconds, and it's going to be Silver Fox. But Noko up on top of the building as well, and inside here, now the team that we're talking about, Solar Fide now coming under lots of fire themselves, so it's going to be all up to Pride here to be the last man alive for them, to try and rout, to try and pull out something special as the solo in this situation when there's 2 squads alive.
He's got a little cozy spot here. It's just going to be a matter of praying that nobody looks at him. And most of these teams are typically going to be, at this point, focusing on each other, so he might actually be solid here for a top 2 situation.
And we are going to see the shots now coming in, and it's going to be Arcan who gets the first knock here. Onto Zach. Noko's going to go down as well, and here comes Pride, maybe just waiting for his moment here to strike, try and put some pressure on, but no, there's a Rogue Watson behind him, and he gets taken down by Nox. The question now is, can he turn a 3rd place into a 2nd place? No, he cannot, and it's going to be Saucer here, top of the building, trying to finish up this fight, manages to hit the wingman shots as well. It's going to be the self-res. All they have to do is finish it off, and they will be your champions here of the final game. But the bigger picture needs to be talked about. We saw NRG and TSM being knocked out pretty early in that game number 5. Have Solar Fide done enough to make up that 15-point differential and really put in a challenge here to become a champion?
Yeah, I'm sure TSM did not get many points. I think they went out like 15th, so that's probably 1. NRG, even though they lost Frex, I did see them pick up at least 1 or 2 kills on top of they got to at least like top 10. So they picked up a couple points, and that might be their saving grace. But you saw there at the end, I believe Noct went. He knew that there was just one more left on Solafide. I believe he went purposely looking for him because typically when your team is losing a fight like that in a hard 3v3, top 3 situation, the play is typically just find that last rat, kill him off real quick, get the kill point and the placement point for being second, and that's a win in their book as far as they're concerned. So it's going to be really interesting to see, man.
Yeah, HRN, they're the team who won that game number 5, just getting confirmation. Of course, we saw it on our screens. But again, this is the beauty of Battle Royales, and this is the beauty of the format. We don't quite know how those points are going to tally up, who is going to be crowned champion. And that's what we've got to wait for now. As I say, we're waiting for the guys on the desk to break it all down and work it all out. And I need to say, Hodzic, it's been an absolute pleasure to cast alongside you in the booth. I know we've been looking forward to a long time. And from the UK as well, to everyone over in America at the moment, just make sure you stay safe in a difficult time. But for now, we are going to send it back to the analyst desk to find out who is our champion. Best of luck working it out, guys. It's over to you.
Thank you so much, Onset. Hodzic, one hell of a broadcast. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. What an amazing finish to a day that has been full of fireworks, Jayla. We see a team that hasn't really been introduced in the same way that some of the other squads have, with the same fireworks today, and that is HRN and Sorcerer and Hill and RKN. Great players, and they finally get the win here. But the story was really about following along with Solafide, and could they do it? Did they find enough in their placements to usurp NRG, who started out 15 points ahead of them? And overall, I'm not sure they were able to do it.
It was cool seeing like the last few teams that were left in a circle were actually teams that we hadn't been talking about. Like in the last game, we were like pretty much focusing on NRG and TSM and wondering which one of them would take the win. But I think that Solafide did a good job of giving NRG for sure in that last game a run for their money. So I'm excited to see like who actually came out on top.
It's the moment we're waiting for. We're just going to keep you with bated breath for a second, obviously, as we look at some of the final moments of that game, because it really was a circle that could have gone either way for these squads, especially Solafide, who got caught here, but they ended up finding some crucial kills towards the end. And, of course, tried to rat it out, but it was ultimately a couple wingman shots and HRN cleaning up a fantastic score. And that does lead us to our Game 5 results that are coming up very shortly on your screen. We have those available. HRN obviously getting a big win there with 21 points. And those are not easy to come by, Jayla. So even though not necessarily involved in the race for first, strong performance. Got to show some love to HRN. Both, all three of those players have been playing Apex and grinding, and good shout outs to them, obviously grabbing a win there.
Yeah, definitely. Huge shout out to HRN for winning that game. We hadn't seen much from them the previous games, but they came through with the win for their team. So definitely is putting them on the map. I see that Complexity has 13 kills, man. They were kill hungry that game. They were chasing teams. They were shooting at anybody they could shoot at. It was really fun watching them play that last game and seeing them prioritize their placement, but also still try to get the kills at the same time.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have the moment you've been waiting for. OT6 is won by none other than NRG. They pull it through, and they grab the final OT6 in Apex Legends ALGS. Before we head to the Super Regionals, NRG is on top, and Solafide will come in second. TSM in third, with Complexity and Noble White right behind them in fourth and fifth. The story, though, Jayla, the ups and downs, the trials, the adversity, fighting through all of it to finally, at the last chance, grab the victory over North America and head into the next phase of summer on top. What a performance by NRG today.
I am so proud of this team. I remember seeing them back in Poland. Obviously, a completely different team composition there. And now we have these new players. They had some difficulties, as I said earlier, getting into the quals, some technical difficulties. But they came out on top. I'm actually amazed at their performance. I'm so happy for them. I'm sure I can only imagine how they're feeling right now.
I mean, I feel like catharsis is the only word that comes to mind, right? Like just a relief, like the tension, the expectation. I mean, not only just in esports in general, how impactful NRG is and the moves that they make, but just in Apex, they're kind of synonymous with some of our most famous content creators in this scene. And the pro play just wasn't there for them. It was just communication. It was passion. It was not the right fit. And finally, it seems like these guys have found something that works. Frex, Nathan, Rocker. I mean, you look at the way that this composition has put itself together, Jayla. Just speak a little bit about these guys and what they do behind the scenes to be even put in a position to take this win here.
I can only imagine being these guys on NRG right now, like living up to like Asu, Dizzy, some of the biggest people in the Apex scene. I'm sure like they had a lot of people coming out here and just performing as well as they possibly could. I know it's probably a lot of stress. I know I've been in a few smaller like tournaments myself and I crack under pressure, but it's cool to see them like how they hold up and like no matter what they've gone through the past, like whether it be like the quals, the issues that they had and like the technical issues, they still came out and gave their best and they came out on top for it.
And we do have the kill leader ready as well. Another surprise, but this is more for the solo fraggers. Let's take a look at that one because, as you can see, it goes to Monsoon, the man, the myth, the legend. His team scoring a very strong number 4 here in the overall standings, but he takes the top spot. Reps right behind him. And, of course, Reptar from Complexity right behind him. And Frex, we talked about Nathan, we talked about Rocker, but Frex really one of the first ones to be introduced here and try to mesh with that old squad, part of the new regime of NRG, and look at how much it has impacted them. Him coming in fourth with Lou rounding it out. Complexity, no surprise to be on the top of that kill leaderboard, though, Jayla.
Yeah, I'm 100% not surprised to see Complexity top 5 on the kill leaders. Just watching them, every time you're spectating, watching them chase around teams and make sure they got their kills, it was just so fun to watch them. So it's cool to see them at the top of the kill leaders.
You know, we've seen Season 5 give us a lot of different changes. We have a new legend introduced in Loba, but we didn't see her today. And in fact, I think today you look at it, and my POV is we've seen a lot of the same work very, very well. And teams playing patiently, teams playing more aggressively. But if anything is kind of the biggest conversation piece for me as far as themes in this season, it's parity. I mean, not only have like weapons gotten better that were kind of, you could never use it. You know, they'll buff a little alternator. So it's not the worst, but you still like your R99. You have more parity around weapons. You have more parity around the teams as they grow and become better players. I mean, what are your thoughts on how we're seeing this NA scene evolve and how many threats there are really looking at having a shot at taking first place here, not only in these OTs, but now in the upcoming Super Regionals?
I think that the buff to certain weapons has been really huge. Like now you can land, grab a RE45 and still do pretty well with it. I know I saw somebody running a Mozambique like hammer point, like these weapons that you typically like wouldn't like think that would work in your favor. They're still like holding up against like if you have the aim like with those guns, like you can still pretty much like compete against anybody. So it's cool to see like no matter like even if they don't have the ideal loadout, they're still like getting these kills with these weapons.
And still having, I think, a lot of success no matter what they're doing as long as they continue to evolve and adapt. We have some big plays, though, that, and talking about adapting, led to some big moments. And one of them, it's in Game 2, our play of the day. And this was NRG. They were taking it away with some strong momentum. Final minutes, dominating high ground performance. Very strategic and, you know, no player comms as well. And I think we're trying to get that up on your screen in just a moment. If not, yep, there it is. Just a fantastic kind of hold here at Tree, Jayla. And what did you see here that was impressive to you? Because NRG, they certainly ended up with the result they wanted.
NRG stopped the rotation of Solafide into the circle while the McCarthy bros were shooting at Solafide. So they were able to eliminate that team and make a clean 3v3 with the McCarthy brothers. It looked like they were like using their zip to like go down and take some shots and come back up. But this is the position that ultimately like won them the game. So it's pretty huge that they kept that high ground and they didn't like push and try to get like the kills, but more so playing for first place.
patience, not only one of those things that will help you in life, but obviously in Apex, just taking the right approach. You can let your enemies come to you. Beautiful Wraith portal back, and as we look at this even closer, it's NRG just holding this high ground at tree, where they ended up landing, we believe, to start this game. So sometimes there isn't a lot of movement in Apex, especially when you have that Pathfinder, you have the recon, you know where this circle is trending, and they just said, we'll hold here, and we will ride with ourselves. We'll bet on our own, and that bet certainly paid dividends.
It's interesting to see like them jump down. I wonder what it was, like what moment it was when we were like, okay guys, we're gonna jump down and we're gonna kill this team. Because honestly, probably could have stayed up top.
Yeah, I mean, there was no reason why. I think you look at it though, and sometimes there is a line between too patient and saying, okay guys, we have, we've knocked two. The one guy is 50 health. We can all drop down and finish this off. No need to try to, let's see if they can self-revive inside the zone and maybe come through for another fight. Let's finish it where we can. And I think that was the statement NRG were making. Playing safe, playing confident, but then obviously when the moment struck and it was worth it for them, they moved in. And that's why they are your champions here in OT6. What a performance. And let's talk about the tweets that have been coming through. We've seen them, #ALGS. They've been flooding my timeline. A lot of you people have been adding me as well at Rain Day Gaming on Twitter. But this one comes from family right here. Mark Onset. You just heard him cast it. Dubbed so big. Great to see NRG back at the top of Play Apex, #ALGS ladder. Amazing performance, especially with what must have been the squeakiest Game 5 to be a part of. Congrats, boys. Frex, Rocker, Apex, and Nathan GG. Now, that's how you compose a tweet. I mean, I'd say he's a good caster, but I got to talk to him about tweet composition at this point. He's definitely got a leg up on whatever I'm doing. But shout outs to them, Jayla. Are you seeing any tweets on the timeline that stood out to you about NRG getting the win?
Actually, I haven't had a chance to like take a look at the timeline yet, but I'm sure there's plenty of tweets. I'm so nervous. All I could do is look at this camera, but I'm sure there's plenty of tweets about NRG winning. I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see them come out on top of this online tournament.
Let me ask you this, because you play Apex, you're a big part of the Twitch community, you're a content creator, and yet you are very involved now in the Apex competitive scene. There's been so many conversations and stories and I don't know, I guess bigger ways that the teams are perceived. I think we early thought that TSM was untouchable. We found out that other teams can have value. We see OT6 with Liquid and Rogue having some success. We see Skirt having success. Now with NRG winning, what do you think that does to NA? Is it just an open region now, or is it still TSM's world and everyone's hoping to live in it? Or is that kind of time gone and it's a new phase that you see kind of opening up? What does this win kind of lead to you and your impressions for the future of North American Apex?
I feel like initially people definitely saw TSM as like the powerhouse for NA, but there have been other teams like Liquid that have won before, and I feel like this is giving people more initiative to work harder. Showing like these teams showing that your hard work does pay off, and no matter who you're going up against, even if it's TSM, you still have the opportunity and the chance to show up and win just like anybody else.
It's a beautiful way to step forward into a new day. And if you want to talk about your thoughts, what do you think the North American meta will look like with the teams, with the legends, with the weapons? Use #ALGS to tweet at us. We'll be reading those and maybe saving them for a future broadcast as well. Maybe you did some, big brain predictions about what's going to happen at the Super Regionals, and we'll bring it up at the Super Regionals and say, yo, this person was right as well. Make sure you know when those are. June 21st is when we begin. That is 21 days from now. Then July 12th and 26th, we'll have only a week or so in between those two. And then August 9th will be a big one. My cousin's birthday as well. I don't know if I can make the party. I will definitely be casting this bad boy. But I'm excited to celebrate not only him and the winners, of course, leading into the playoffs, which will be in September. A big schedule for us, Jayla. And I think when you look at it, If you ever want the information around what's happening with competitive Apex, go to playapex.com/ALGS, and you can register for those Super Regionals on June 9th with Battlefy. So remember to register, battlefy.com/ALGS. Remember, it's playapex.com/ALGS for all the info, and battlefy.com/ALGS on June 9th if you want to sign up and try to partake in that Super Regional where we're combining regions, increasing prize pool, and setting even more teams together to try and find the best of the best heading into the end of the year. It's going to be so much fun, and we cannot wait to do it with you. But right now, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in our homes. There's a lot of lighting. We got to turn this stuff off. And so we're going to say thank you for everyone who's been watching us. Thank you for the viewers during this time to actually find a little bit of time with us to hang out and enjoy something we all love. When there's not always everything we can agree on outside in the world, I think it's lovely that we can agree on that we love Apex, we love gaming, and we love coming together for these shared experiences. So thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to the crew working hard behind the scenes. Thank you, Jayla, as well, for hanging out on Desk, your first broadcast. Incredible stuff. Can't wait to see you back. And a big shout out to all of the casters as well. I'm not sure if they're going to wave at you, but big shout out to our caster pairs and everyone who's been involved in today's broadcast. It's been a fantastic time. And of course, joined by Jayla here on the desk. My name is Rain Day. I really appreciate you guys. Remember to stay safe out there. We love you. And as always, never give up, never stop gaming. And we will see you all next time.